Hi, my name is Caleb Ward, and today I want to share with you 5 books on my to-be-read pile. Now, if you're an avid reader, you probably have a fairly large TBR pile, a to-be-read pile. This is the overwhelming large stack of books that you really want to read, and you're going to get through them at some point, but you also have to keep buying more and more books because it's an addiction. At least if you're like me. Today, I want to share with you 5 books that are on my TBR pile. So, first up on my TBR pile is a book that I'm very excited about reading, and that is 9 by Rachel Dekker. Now, Rachel Dekker is the daughter of Ted Dekker, and she writes very similar books to her father, and her father is my favorite author. So I'm very excited about this novel. Let's read the description. Some secrets can't stay hidden. Zoe Johnson has spent most of her life living in the shadows, never drawing attention to herself, never investing in people or places. But when a wide-eyed, bedraggled teenager with no memory walks into the diner where Zoe works, everything changes. Against her better judgment, Zoe, who has been trained to outrun her own painful memories of the past, finds herself attempting to help the girl who doesn't seem to have any past at all. With little warning, they must follow the only sure thing they know. A woman hundreds of miles away will either save them or be the last person to see them alive. This is a book that I'm very excited about reading, and I can't wait to tell you guys more about once I do get a chance to read it. The next book we have is the Wing Feather Saga. Now, you might have heard of this series by Andrew Peterson because it is currently being made into a TV show. And yes, it is a middle school fiction series, but that hasn't stopped me before from reading a good book, and that is not going to stop me now. And I've heard many great things about this fantasy series, so I'm very excited to read it. Adventure, Peril, Lost Jewels, and the Fearsome Toothy Cows of Scree? Okay. Andrew Peterson spins a riveting tale for all ages, following Janner, Tink, and Lily, Igby, and their trusty dog Nugget as they escape from the vicious fangs of Dang, who seek the lost jewels of Anera. Quirky characters and their world of wonders from the edge of the dark sea of darkness to the deadly Glipwood Forest and beyond set the stage for this epic adventure. Very excited about reading this, and it even has the great fantasy trope of having unpronounceable names. In my own fantasy novels have continued that trope proudly, and I'm glad to see it continued with this series. Next up is a book that has been in my to-be-read pile for far too long, and I'm a little ashamed to say that I haven't read it yet. This Present Darkness by Frank Peretti. Now, those of you who have been reading Christian fiction for a long time have probably read this book and are in horror that I have not yet read it. But I promise you, I will get to it. I have heard amazing things about this supernatural thriller, and I can't wait to tell you guys all about it once I finally do read it. So let's read the description. Ashton is just a typical small town, but when a skeptical reporter and a prayerful pastor begin to compare notes, they suddenly find themselves fighting a hideous New Age plot to subjugate the town people and eventually the entire human race. Okay, looking forward to this book. Next up on my to-be-read pile is A Bridge to Haven by Francine Rivers. Now, I'll admit, while I do like the Christian romance and Christian contemporary genre, I haven't been as much into it lately, and so some of the Francine Rivers and Karen Kingsbury and Sharon Hink and all of these amazing authors that I do like, I have a lot of their books that are sitting there, and I do want to read them, but I have not read them yet, but I promise I will get to it. I have heard great things about this book from my mom. She reads a lot of those kinds of books, and I've heard that this one is an excellent one. So let's read the description. She's burned every bridge to get exactly what she thought she wanted. Now all she wants is a way back home. To those who matter in Hollywood, Lena Scott is the hottest rising star to hit the silver screen since Marilyn Monroe. Few know her real name is Abra. Even fewer know the price she paid to finally feel like somebody. All right, I'm very excited about reading that once I finally get to it, and that comes off my TBR pile. And lastly, we have an entire series that is on my TBR pile, and that is the series Private Justice by Irene Hannon. Now, something that I like to do is when I find an author that I enjoy, I buy pretty much all of their books and just read through them one by one. I did it with Ted Dekker, Karen Kingsbury, a lot of Francine Rivers books, Terry Blackstock, Brian Davis, and others as well. And Irene Hannon is an author that I've heard a lot of great things about, but I haven't had a chance to check her out. So I'm looking forward to reading this thriller, and I'm expecting it to be investing because I'm ready to buy all of her other books as well. So let's read the description. A tenacious reporter, a skeptical PI, and a secret that will shatter lives. Reporter Maura Harrison is lost in the dark in a thunderstorm when a lone figure suddenly breaks in the beam of her headlights. Maura slams on her brakes, but it's too late. She feels the solid thump against the side of her car before crashing into a tree on the far side of the road. Oh. A man opens her door, tells her he saws everything, and promises to call 911. Then the world fades to black. When she comes to, she's alone. No man, no 911, no injured person, but she can't forget the look of terror she saw in the face the instant before her headlights swung away. And she can't get anyone to believe her story, except maybe a handsome ex-homicide detective turned private eye who reluctantly agrees to take on the case. I guess she is trying to find the person. So it's like the opposite of a hit and run. I don't know, sounds interesting. So those are 5 of the books on my very tall TBR pile. Share with me some of the books that are on your to be read pile. And if you've read any of these, get me excited. Tell me what you loved about these books and tell me which one I should start with. I'm very excited about reading all of these and hearing your thoughts on these and books on your TBR pile. Make sure to like and subscribe, and if you want another book to add to your to be read pile, you can check out my novel, Downfall, on my website, calebwardauthor.com or Amazon.